or typical useless protagonist. He's way worse than that, well, at least until he figures out that he possesses incredible hidden skills. The story begins in a distant small town where an S-ranked wolf monster has attacked, and the villagers have spent their life savings on an adventuring party to save their worthless lives. The party is called the Flaming Dragon Fang, consisting of 3 brave adventurers and, you guessed it, the worthless loser Kurt, who has no business being there. The monster, of course, preys on the weak first and shoves Kurt away from the battlefield. With no more liabilities, the heroes swiftly deal with the threat and subjugate the beast. These 3 competent heroes are Bandana, the ranger, Golnova, the fiery warrior, and Marlefist, the healer. Just after this event, the team goes on to become known as the heroes who stopped a calamity. But what is a powerless loser doing in a team of heroes, you may ask? Well, Kurt actually handles the toughest job of them all, doing the heroes' household chores while they go out to save the world. Basically, he's a housewife. For instance, whenever the heroes are unsatisfied with the food, they make Kurt cook them a better meal. However, this time, Bandana mentions that this will be the last time they'll be having Kurt's cooking, as their leader, Golnova, has decided to fire his worthless ass from the party. Apparently, having cooking skills isn't enough to be part of a reputable party like theirs, and Kurt is so incompetent that he can't even defeat a slime on his own. The heroes have other reasons as well. They want to become stronger, and to do so, they need to recruit a mage, as they lack one in their party. But because the laws of this world restrict them from having more than 4 members in their party, they have no other option but to let Kurt go. Kurt begs Golnova to reconsider, but gets kicked in the gut instead. None of the heroes show him any pity. Rather, they laugh at him. And with that, Kurt is now officially unemployed. Like most of you who comment, "Bro fell off," and "first on my videos." Anyway, with nowhere to go, Kurt heads back to the city looking for work and visits a place called Hello Workstation. There, he is greeted by an eccentric receptionist who collects his personal info and then administers an aptitude test to see how strong he is and whether he has any hidden talents. Typically, the ranking is from SSS to D, but when Kurt's result comes in, it's revealed that he got a score of G in all of the tests he took, meaning he has absolutely no combat skills at all. This is beyond embarrassing, but the receptionist tells Kurt not to worry, as she's certain there are some trade jobs that even a loser like him is capable of doing. Moreover, there are other aptitude tests Kurt can take, like blacksmithing or alchemy, so she encourages him to try those instead of giving up. Unfortunately, the technicians needed for those tests are currently on break, so Kurt will have to wait until next week to take them. Upon learning that the kid needs money now, the receptionist decides to assign him some construction work and sends him to the neighboring town as a worker to help repair the town's boundary walls. Kurt heads off immediately and meets with a recruiter, who is super disappointed that the workstation sent such a malnourished kid to him. But because his team is short-handed, he doesn't complain much and gives Kurt the task of making cement on the ground and then mending the walls with it. Kurt decides to pour his mana into strengthening the cement, even though the recruiter hasn't mentioned anything regarding that, and starts working. The recruiter returns 3 hours later and is absolutely amazed to learn that Kurt has repaired a whole third of the western wall all by himself. Kurt didn't have any equipment at all, which makes the recruiter wonder how this kid did it. Kurt explains the process, but the recruiter still fails to make any sense of it. Anyway, because Kurt is quite good at this, the recruiter decides to hire him permanently and gives him a good amount of money as payment, saying he got a bonus for his performance. This encourages Kurt to give his best even more. Over the next 3 days, he repairs the west and north walls all by himself. But instead of being impressed, the recruiter becomes irritated and fires him. He explains that the wall repairs are meant to provide work for those struggling financially, and if Kurt keeps working here, there won't be any jobs left for them. The recruiter believes that Kurt has SS rank working skills, so he advises him to find work in the capital instead and sends him away with the day's payment. Kurt doesn't understand whether the recruiter's feedback was genuine or just flattery. So, he goes to the workstation, seeking the receptionist's guidance. The technicians still haven't arrived yet, so he'll have to wait a few more days before getting his aptitude test. But a job opportunity comes knocking in the form of a woman named Yelicia, who is desperately in need of a miner. Wait, is that you, Drake? Jokes aside, Kurt approaches Ulysses, claiming that he used to excavate in the mines in the past. Ulysses doesn't want to hire a skinny, helpless child, but at the same time, she doesn't have enough money to hire a brawny dwarf. With limited options, she decides to hire Kurt. As Kurt leaves with Ulysses, the receptionist checks and finds out that Kurt was paid a whopping 200 gold coins by the construction recruiter, leaving her wondering how that is even possible. Losing balance, she stumbles into a pile of sandbags used to measure how much mana a person possesses. Her associate explains that the more mana a person has, the heavier these bags become. But the problem is that no one has ever been capable enough to activate them, so she considers them worthless and tells the receptionist to move them outside. As the receptionist tries to pick up one of the bags, she notices that it has gotten heavier. Remembering that Kurt had lifted one of these earlier, she realizes that he possesses a good amount of mana, maybe too much. Meanwhile, a lot of time passes as Kurt and his employer, Ulysses, travel to the mountains. As the sun sets, Ulysses takes Kurt to her campsite. There is only one tent, so she tells Kurt to share it with her for the night. But Kurt refuses, saying he'll feel uncomfortable staying with a cute lady like her for too long. He even subtly mentions that he's never seen someone as beautiful as her, even after traveling around the world, making her blush like a tomato. She assumes he's just trying to flatter her since she doesn't consider herself cute. Changing the topic, she gives him a boiled potato for dinner. Kurt is surprisingly happy. It has been a long time since anyone has cooked for him, even if it's just boiling a potato. They eat together, and Kurt becomes even happier being treated as an equal, as his ex-party members never used to eat with him. He enjoys Ulysses' cooking quite a bit and offers her several compliments. I'm guessing this has something to do with what will happen moments later inside the tent. Later that night, Kurt tries every method known to mankind to sleep, but fails to get any shut-eye at all. He wonders if Ulysses is also awake, so he turns around only to discover that she is fast asleep, with her treasury left wide open. Kurt is shocked by the sight and almost screams out loud before managing to control his emotions. He quickly gets up before things get out of control and wonders if Ulysses is too naive for trusting a stranger. As he steps outside, Ulysses opens her eyes, meaning she was awake the whole time. She then reveals to us that she deliberately didn't put on any clothes to test whether Kurt was the kind of guy who'd try to take advantage of her. Now that she has determined he's a good guy, she can spend the entire week with him without any worries. She also mentions that she finds him cute, which makes her want to tease him as well. Lady, are you sure you wanted to hire a miner with an O, or did you mean to hire one with an E? The next morning, Ulysses wakes up, steps out of the tent, and finds Kurt still asleep. Realizing that he was outside in the wild all night, she notices her robe lying nearby with a broken button that has now been fixed, making her wonder if she hired the wrong person for this job because he seemed way too much of a pookie to be working as a miner. Anyway, she wakes him up, telling him to get ready as they are going to venture into the mountains again. She also mentions that they need to mine enough to earn at least 10 gold before the week ends. Kurt asks if she has decided where they'll be digging, and she replies that she hasn't yet, but would prefer a location near their campsite. Kurt doesn't think digging randomly is a good idea, as the odds of finding rare ores or any ores at all are extremely low. It seems Ulysses has gotten her mining knowledge from playing Minecraft and doesn't know how things work in the real world. So, Kurt educates her and then takes it upon himself to find a proper location. After searching the area, Kurt finds a quarry and starts digging. Within a few minutes, he discovers a rock that he claims contains ores. He breaks it using the opposite side of a hammer, revealing several gemstone crystals inside. Each of these crystals can easily sell for around 3 gold. And since there are already more than 4 here, it means Ulysses has already reached her 10 gold goal for the week. But one should never turn away fortune when it knocks. So Ulysses tells Kurt to keep digging. Only a few hours pass before Kurt extracts every single gemstone from the quarry. Ulysses suggests they sell all of them, but Kurt disagrees, telling her that these gemstones are much smaller than the first crystals he extracted. He believes it would be better to turn the smaller ones into magic crystals. From what Ulysses knows, there are fewer than 10 magic craftsmen in the entire kingdom capable of manufacturing magic crystals, and even the smallest one takes over an hour to make. But Kurt does it instantly, leaving Ulysses' jaw on the floor. She points this out to Kurt, but not suspecting he has any special talent. He assumes magic craftsmen use some divine technique to craft magic crystals. Ulysses realizes they are not on the same page at all, but she doesn't bother educating the obvious blockhead and just lets him work peacefully for the rest of the day. In the evening, Ulysses decides to head back to the city to trade the materials Kurt collected, while Kurt suggests staying at the campsite since he wants to handle some household chores. Later, in the city, Ulysses is interrogated by the knights because she doesn't have any verified documents proving where she got the magic crystals from, making her look suspicious. Not wanting to snitch on Kurt, Ulysses plays her hidden card, showing an emblem to the knight, revealing that she's an adventurer who serves directly under the royal family when in reality, she used to serve under them. Regardless, she uses this privilege to convince the knight to let her use a teleportation gate, as she wants to visit the royal capital urgently. Upon arriving, Ulysses visits a store to sell the magic crystals and learns from the shopkeeper that these have 10 times the usual amount of mana imbued in them, making each one worth 10 gold. In total, Ulysses earns 500 gold for selling all of them. Before she leaves, the shopkeeper advises her not to sell these anywhere else, as others might scam her. She also inquires about the craftsman who made them, believing that someone with this level of skill should be working directly for the kingdom. But Ulysses, unwilling to reveal Kurt's identity without his permission, refuses to answer. The shopkeeper doesn't back down and orders her as a royal court mage to reveal who the craftsman is. But Ulysses still refuses, so the shopkeeper makes her a final offer. They want to make Kurt a director and an honorary count for the kingdom. Left completely bewildered, Ulysses rushes to the workstation, slamming her hands on the counter and demanding answers from the receptionist. Who the heck is this guy? Abusing her authority, Ulysses pulls Kurt's past information from the receptionist and cannot believe her eyes when she sees that he got a G rank in his aptitude test. Regardless, she hands over the 500 gold to the receptionist, instructing her to deposit it into Kurt's account. Before leaving, she also forbids her from revealing any information about Kurt to anyone. Ulysses then heads back to the campsite, only to find that Kurt has somehow transformed the entire place into a farmhouse in just under a day. Seriously.